a little bit about this article that I came across. Stranded migrants sew mouths shut in protest against Balkan border controls. Symbolic act comes as thousands of stranded people protest over Macedonia's decision to block those not from Syria, Iraq, or Afghanistan. You see where he's sewn his mouth shut? 7 men had sewn their mouths shut, and more than 1,000 Iranians, Moroccans, and Pakistanis have blocked a train line on the Greek-Macedonia border in protest against a recent decision by some Balkan countries to block certain nationalities from heading towards Northern Europe. Now, what I don't understand is they're the ones invading everybody else, and they're protesting because they're not letting them invade another country. Let's just put it that way. These are supposed to be Syrians coming across the borders. Syrians. Because the Syrians needed the help. But we don't know who these people are. They're coming from other countries. I mean, where's the women and children? They're not getting screened. Nobody knows who they are, and they're protesting? We don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. We don't know shit from Shinola, basically. You know what? You could sew your mouth shut. You could sew your asshole shut for all I'm concerned. Because I don't think none of you fuckers should be over in other countries without doing it the right way. That's my opinion. And I'm very opinionated, so yeah. For the first time since hundreds of thousands of people began marching through the Balkans earlier this year, the Macedonian government began filtering them last week on a basis of their perceived need, and is now preventing access for those not from Syria, Iraq, or Afghanistan. The move has led to fears of the migrant logjam in Greece and sparked fury among those trapped at the border. Many chanted in protest on Monday against the decision and tried to block the path of those allowed to cross the border. Pakistanis held posters highlighting the human rights violations in their country, noting the particular recent bloodshed in Peshawar. 7 men also stitched their mouths shut with string and twine after being trapped on the border for up to 6 days. Most of the 7 are believed to be from Iran. But aid workers at the site said it was hard to discern their exact circumstances and motivations. It's difficult to communicate with them, said Gemma Gilly, a representative of Médecins Sans Frontières, who witnessed the scene at the border on Monday. But they've been protesting silently and nothing's happened. So that's why they are doing this? According to the UN Refugee Agency, roughly 1 in 10 people walking through the Balkans are not Syrian, Afghan, or Iraqi. Macedonia no longer wants to give them safe passage since it believes their lives are not in danger and fears they may end up stuck on Macedonian soil if countries further to the north begin to filter people in a similar way. In a test case last Wednesday, Slovenia tried to return more than 100 Moroccans to Croatia, prompting Macedonia to introduce its own restrictions. Rights groups have questioned the wisdom of blocking people based on their nationality and argued that each case needs to be assessed on its individual merit. Some Balkan politicians have also expressed unease at the development with Croatia's interior minister, noting that the circumstances in many countries were too complex to be treated in such a monolithic way. It is very difficult to say. What is Yemen? Is it a Cold War or not? Roko Astojic, the Croatian interior minister, asked The Guardian on Monday. He added that it was a misguided attempt to stop the passage of so many people, given that all land borders are in some way porous. There is no possibility of making a full stop. There is no wall that will stop them totally, he said. Macedonia's Prime Minister, Nikola Gruevski, said that he had no intention of stopping people who his government deemed in the need of humanitarian protection. But on Sunday, he said Europe needed to introduce better border security measures, alluding to the way that at least one of the assailants in the Paris attacks may have reached France after landing in Greece and walking through the Balkans. Gruevski said, the status quo is untenable and short-term recommendations do nothing to solve the problem. Macedonia knows that the only solution is European-wide expanded cooperation, real-time exchange of information, and additional support so we may ensure appropriate security and humanitarian outcomes for all involved. Refugees making their way through Balkans after being allowed to pass through Macedonia warned against scapegoating them for the actions of Islamic State terrorism in Paris. "We left home because of those kinds of people," said Jomana Mohammed, whose home in Kobani, northern Syria, was destroyed during an assault by ISIS. "We're running from the same thing they experienced in Paris because they've experienced that 10 times over." Mohammed's husband, Ahmad, is pushing his mother, a wheelchair user, through the Balkans, a decision he has not taken lightly, of course. "We miss Syria," he said, and his eyes teared up, "but there is no life there, and we just want to live." So basically, they want to live, okay, these people from Syria and everywhere else. They will not protest the Islamic State. They won't jump out and protest anything about Islam, about what's going on, about the way of life. Everything's getting destroyed. They protest being not allowed there, but why aren't they protesting the Islamic State? Now, if they did that, and people actually thought they really didn't want that kind of life, then we would care a little bit more. But as of now, this is your guys' problem that you've created. We did not create this problem for you. You guys want to stone people to death. You want to rape small children. All the stuff that you guys do and allow because of your Quran. We don't do in other countries. We're not allowed to do in other countries. You know, it's called restraint and control, and you have none. You think that book is a way of condoning your behavior? No. You know, you have self-control. Use it. You know, we don't condone it in other countries. We won't put up with it in other countries. Like I said, we don't even know who you guys are coming across our borders. You know, and you're going to sew your mouth shut? So what? Nobody cares. Well, anyway, you get my point. Thanks for watching.